Grab your popcorn, because today we are diving into a classic case of rich girl delusion that backfired so hard it hit the upper stratosphere. So, day one of dating this ultimate trust fund queen, Ruyan, our boy Chen Fan set down one crystal clear ground rule. He basically told her, look, I am not playing these gross, bored billionaire mind games. If you ever want to break up, you don't even have to write a text. Just participate in one of your rich snob community's pathetic little flexes, and I'm out. Fast forward 6 years, and what does she do? She goes ahead and secretly adopts a college boy like he's a trendy little French bulldog. When Chen catches her red-handed, she doesn't even have the decency to look guilty. She just giggles in his face like, oh babe, relax, it was just a silly bet with the girls. Once I win, I'll kick him to the curb. Yeah, no, Chen wasn't having any of it. He didn't waste a single breath arguing. He just dropped two simple words, we're done. Then he packed his bags and bounced out of her mega mansion like an absolute boss. Naturally, Miss High and Mighty was fuming. She hit that block button on his phone so hard her fake nails almost broke, totally convinced he'd come crawling back on all fours like he usually did. But here is the math breakdown she completely forgot about. Over the last 6 years, she blocked him 483 times and dumped him 282 times. But this time, he was the one who dumped her. Now that Chen was gone, Ruyan had zero adult supervision. She lived like a frat boy on spring break, and within just own month of eating junk and partying, her stomach completely surrendered. That was the exact moment her brain finally reloaded. It had been 30 whole days, and her personal doormat hadn't returned. With her stomach burning like she swallowed live dynamite, she finally cracked. She tried calling him, only to realize, gasp, she was blocked! Unaccustomed to being rejected, she snatched her housekeeper Annie Wang's phone and dialed his number. Boom! Picked up on the first ring! What's up, Annie Wang? Chen's voice came through, sounding smooth, happy, and completely unbothered. Ruyan had a whole laundry list of demands ready to go. She wanted to scream, are you done throwing your little temper tantrum yet? When are you rolling your butt back home? But the second she heard how peaceful he sounded, her brain short-circuited. All she managed to choke out was a pathetic, my stomach hurts. Chen, without missing a single beat, casually goes, if you're sick, call a doctor. I'm not a physician. Click! Hung up right in her face! Ruyan was shaking with so much rage that she yeeted Annie Wang's phone directly at the wall, smashing it into a million pieces. Poor Annie Wang was standing there in absolute shock like, bro, that was my phone? Driven by pure spite, Ruyan locked herself in her room, muttering, you really think I can't survive without you? What a joke! Enter her little brother, Yanyan. He pulled up to the estate, scanned his fingerprint, and strutted in like he owned the place. Sis! I'm here with orders from Mother Queen! Tonight it's a blind date with Mr. Chin, fresh out of Columbia University with a PhD! Silence. Yanyan noticed Ruyan's shattered phone sitting on the coffee table. Wait, her phone is here, so she's gotta be home. He stomped upstairs and banged on the door. Sis! Mom wants you at dinner! You deaf or what? Still nothing! Yanyan panicked and instantly called Annie Wang. Look, she hasn't left the house all day, Annie Wang warned. She looked terrible. Her stomach condition might be acting up again. What if she passed out? Yanyan grabbed the spare key, threw the door open, and there was Ruyan, pale as a ghost, knocked out cold on the floor. An hour later, in a fancy private hospital room, an IV drip finally calmed the agony in Ruyan's gut. She fluttered her eyes open, her throat feeling like the Sahara Desert. Her friend Jiang Wan handed her a glass of water, gasping, girl, are you okay? Yanyan called us saying you passed out. You scared the absolute living daylights out of us. Ruyan scanned the room. The whole squad was there. Even her stone-faced mom, Mother Shu, had showed up. The only person missing? Chen Fan. Ruyan let out a bitter, sarcastic internal laugh. Damn, he really is cold-blooded, isn't he? What's wrong with me? Ruyan rasped out. Yanyan rolled his eyes. Doctor said your schedule is a total mess and you've been chugging alcohol like water. You literally drank yourself into a stomach perforation. You look like a zombie. I almost had a heart attack. Mother Shu crossed her arms, her face darker than a thunderstorm. Where is Chen Fan? Something this huge happens and he's still not here? The room instantly went dead silent. Ruyan stared into the void, while the friends who knew the dirty truth didn't even dare to breathe. Finally, another friend, Xinyu, broke the awkward silence. They broke up. Didn't you guys know? Mother Shu's brows furrowed. Throwing another tantrum? It's been weeks. His attitude is getting way out of hand. Xinyu gave Mother Shu a look. Auntie, I don't think he's coming back to play house this time. What do you mean? Mother Shu snapped. Is he trying to act all high and mighty with me now? Ruyan cut her off cold. We really broke up this time. Mother Shu nearly lost her mind. She grabbed her phone and dialed Chen's number herself. As soon as he picked up, she started screaming like a total Karen. Chen Fan, my daughter funded your entire life. How dare you treat her like this? You ungrateful leech. Even a stray dog knows how to show gratitude. My daughter is literally bedridden in a hospital right now. When are you getting your useless ass over here to serve her? Chen just calmly replied, sorry, lady. Whatever happens to your daughter is officially none of my business. And hung up. She tried calling back, only to find out she was blocked too. 30 minutes later, little brother Yanyan kicked open Chen Fan's front door. He grabbed him by the arm, trying to drag him out. Get to the hospital right now! My sister is admitted! She needs you! Chen didn't budge an inch. We're broke up. Whether she lives or dies has nothing to do with me. Yanyan looked at him like he was an alien. She has a perforated stomach! Are you seriously still holding a petty grudge? Do you even have a heart? Has my sister treated you bad over the last 6 years? She let you live in a mansion, wore designer clothes, gave you a black card with no limit. Yanyan was getting worked up, mostly because he didn't even get an unlimited black card. I used to defend you all the time, and now you won't even visit her in the hospital! Chen stared at him with ice in his eyes. Yup, I don't care. You can get out now. Fine! Yanyan laughed out of sheer disbelief. Remember what you said today. You better keep this exact same energy forever. Don't you dare come crying on your knees begging my sister to take you back. He slammed the door, stomped off, and immediately tripped over a trash bag in the hallway. What a trashy, stinky dump! Absolutely disgusting! Suddenly, his phone rang. It was Ruyan calling from her hospital bed. Where are you? Yanyan mumbled. Oh, just outside. When are you coming back? Ruyan pressed. Since Yanyan couldn't drag Chen along, he really didn't want to go back empty-handed. I might not come back right away. I'll go home first and fetch the chicken soup Mom made for you. Ruyan's tone instantly sharpened. Is Chen Fan not with you? Yanyan sighed. No. Ruyan gripped her phone tight, her pride flaring up. Who told you to go find him? My hospitalization has zero to do with him. Do you people not understand what a breakup means? Mind your own business. That was the last straw for Yanyan. He exploded right back. Fine! Yeah, I'm just a nosy idiot sticking my nose where it doesn't belong. You two are so high and mighty, why don't you both just ignore each other forever then? What is that supposed to mean? Ruyan demanded. Yanyan let out a bitter laugh. It means your ex-boyfriend explicitly said that anything regarding you has jack squat to do with him. Whether you're sick or dead, don't pin it on him. After Yanyan hit her with that brutal truth bomb, silence fell over the hospital room. When Yanyan looked at his phone, Ruyan had already ended the call. Auntie Wang glanced terrified from Ruyan's demonic, death glare expression to the shattered phone on the floor. Yep, another innocent phone sacrificed to the rage gods. Auntie Wang subconsciously clutched her pocket. That was her freshly replaced phone. She was not letting this crazy rich lady touch it again. Bright and early the next morning, the high society mean girls clique, Kexin and Jiang Wan, swung by the hospital. Kexin waltzed in, flexing a high-end thermal flask. All right, Queen, don't say your besties don't love you. Look what I brought, Malay porridge, specially brewed at the crack of dawn by my personal chef. It's loaded with fancy ingredients. One sip and you'll be back to ruling the world. Ruyan took literally one tiny bite, gagged, and slammed the spoon down. I'm not eating this garbage. Where did you hire this chef? A dumpster. They can't even make simple porridge. Kexin raised an eyebrow, offended. Picky much? I tasted it and it's fine. Ruyan went full Ice Queen. You want it? You eat it, Kexin snickered. Oh, I see. It's not a problem with the porridge. It's a problem with the person who cooked it. I guess my 5-star chef's cooking can't compete with ex-boyfriend's loving touch. Oops, my bad. Former boyfriend. Jiang Wan started coughing aggressively from the sidelines, practically signaling Kexin to stop poking the bear, but it was too late. G-E-O-T, Ruyan barked. Kexin snatched her thermos, completely unbothered. Fine, I'm leaving! With a toxic attitude like that, no wonder Chen Fan refuses to come back. Honestly? If I were him, I wouldn't come back either. And she skedaddled out the door. Jiang Wan chased after her into the hallway. Dude, she's miserable right now. Why are you rubbing salt on her open wounds? Kexin rolled her eyes. Even a blind person can see Chen Fan as her ultimate soft spot. She's just stubborn as a mule. If she wants him back, she should just say it out loud. So dramatic. Hey, Wan, why don't you play matchmaker and set up a play? Later that day, Chen just finished a nice morning jog when his phone buzzed. He picked up. Jiang Wan? What's up? Hey Chen, how are you holding up? I'm fine. You? Jiang Wan immediately went full Hollywood actress mode. Honestly, Chen, not good at all. I've been staying up late, drinking way too much, and my stomach is totally destroyed. I have zero appetite for anything, except for that iconic stomach-soothing porridge you always make. I miss it so bad, man. Is there any chance you could drop some off? Chen checked the clock. Sure, no problem. Cut to Jiang Wan triumphantly slamming that same thermal flask onto Ruyan's bed table. Tada! Guaranteed to make you happy this time! Ruyan suspiciously opened the lid, took one bite, and her entire stressed-out face immediately softened into pure bliss. Her huge ego instantly took the driver's seat. She thought, he acts so tough, but he still can't let me go. She swallowed another bite and glanced toward the door. Where is he? Jiang Wan blinked, confused. Who? He made this, right? Ruyan scoffed, acting like a total diva. So he finally came to his senses and decided to crawl back? What does he take my place for? A hotel, coming and going whenever he wants. Kexin, who was chilling on the couch, couldn't help but laugh out loud at the absurdity. Girl, don't flatter yourself. Jiang Wan lied to him and said she was sick just to get that porridge. He has zero clue it's for you, and he is not coming here. Ruyan's face instantly went pitch black. She turned her cold stare to Jiang Wan. Did I ask you to do that? Who gave you permission to act on my behalf? Jiang Wan shrank back. I just didn't want you to starve! You haven't eaten in days! If it weren't for Chen Fan's porridge, you'd be passed out again! Ruyan stayed silent, her mood totally ruined. Jiang Wan continued rambling, hoping to soften her up. By the way, I went to Chen's new place to pick up the food. Girl, it's tiny, run down, and doesn't even have an elevator. He has to climb 7 flights of stairs every day. He looks like he's living in straight-up poverty. She kept sneaking peeks at Ruyan. While Ruyan kept saying, "Good, he deserves it," her eyes flickered with a split second of genuine heartbreak. Yep, she is still madly in love with him, Jiang Wan thought. Before Jiang Wan could spill more tea, a hyper-cringy, high-pitched echoed from the doorway. Jiang Wan and Xin Yue visibly recoiled, instantly getting secondhand embarrassment and full-body goosebumps. Enter the guy Ruyan was secretly keeping on the side, the college boy, Xiao Jibo. He hadn't been able to reach Ruyan for days, so he pestered Kexin until she spilled that Ruyan was in the hospital for stomach bleeding. He came sprinting like he was in a dramatic K-drama. The second he saw Ruyan in a hospital gown, fake tears started falling like a broken faucet. He bombarded her with a million useless, annoying questions while dramatically sobbing. It was so insufferable that not only was Ruyan getting a migraine, but even Jiang Wan and Xin Yu were rolling their eyes into another dimension. Ruyan rubbed her temples. For the first time, she started intensely missing Chen Fan. If Chen were here, he would have quietly taken care of everything like a real adult, instead of standing here crying like a lost toddler. Xiao Jibo, being a professional gold digger, immediately sensed her annoyance and shut his fake crying down. He just stood there with puppy dog eyes, looking oh so devastated. Ruyan's heart softened just a tiny bit out of pity. Xiao Jibo bit his lip and whimpered, "I just want to take care of you." Jiang Wan literally snorted out loud. Xiao Jibo felt super embarrassed and gave her an angry glare. Ruyan picked up on the toxic vibe and said dryly, "You can go home now." Realizing he was riding on thin ice, the college kid meekly nodded, "Okay," and scurried off. The moment he left, Xin Yu stood up and said, "All right, we're leaving too." Ruyan basically kicked the rest of the peanut gallery out, finally getting some peace and quiet. She rubbed her forehead, stared at the IV needle, stuck in her hand, and without thinking twice, Woink! She ripped the needle straight out of her skin. She got dressed and prepared to dash. A nurse walked in to swap her IV bag, saw her escaping, and panicked. "Ma'am, you can't leave!" Ruyan turned around with a terrifying, murder-eyed glare. "Get out of my way!" The nurse was so frightened by her unhinged aura that she froze, letting Ruyan walk right out, before frantically calling her manager. Ruyan hated hospitals, hated the smell of bleach, and hated feeling weak. She just wanted to be back home. Naturally, Mother Shu called her seconds later to scream at her for escaping, but Ruyan lasted about 5 seconds before hanging up and flicking her phone straight into airplane mode. Sweet silence. Back at the mansion, the heavy paranoia in her chest finally eased, but as she walked upstairs, her feet magically drifted toward the kitchen. The counter was spotless, utensils arranged perfectly. For a split second, she hallucinated seeing Chen Fan's busy back in his apron, cooking for her. Suddenly, the front door unlocked. It was Auntie Wang, sent by Mother Shu to keep an eye on her. Ruyan didn't say a word and went straight to her room. Poor Auntie Wang sighed, tied on her apron, and spent hours slaving over a stove to make fresh porridge. When she brought the bowl upstairs, Ruyan was already fast asleep, her face still sickly pale. Auntie Wang softly set the bowl down, cleaned the kitchen, and quietly left. By midnight, Ruyan woke up feeling like her stomach was literally on fire. She was burning up with a massive fever, tossing and turning in agony, until a freezing cold IV needle poked into her vein again, slowly bringing the burning sensation down. She opened her eyes, and there was Mother Shu sitting by her bedside, looking completely exhausted. By 10 p.m. that night, Mother Shu was losing her mind. She tried calling Ruyan over a dozen times, but every single attempt went straight to voicemail. Panicking that her golden goose daughter had collapsed somewhere, she floored it all the way to the villa. Sure enough, she walked in to find Ruyan lying in bed, bright red and completely delirious with a sky-high fever. The hilarious part? Even while completely unconscious, Ruyan kept whimpering his name over and over again. Chen Fan, Chen Fan. Mother Shu panicked, called the house doctor, and after a quick checkup, the doc went, "Relax, the fever is coming down. It's just her severe stomach issues flaring up. I'll prescribe some meds, just make sure she takes them." Around midnight, a nurse came in to swap her IV bag, and the noise finally woke Ruyan up. She shielded her eyes from the bright lights and rasped out, "Give me your phone. I need to make a call." She dialed that number she knew by heart. Ring. Ring. On the other end, Chen Fan was fast asleep, dreaming of a peaceful life without billionaire drama when his phone rang. He blindly answered it with a sleepy, "Hello?" Silence. He dragged his eyes open, thinking it was a spam call about extended car warranties, and was just about to hang up when a tiny, trembling whimper came through the speaker. Hearing her voice like that, a tiny reflex of sympathy flicked in his chest for a split second. Ruyan had always been stubborn, toxic, and obsessed with playing the strong, independent queen. She'd drink until her stomach bled or work until she passed out. Back in the day, Chen bent over backwards, playing nurse, cooking 3 custom meals a day, and even learning traditional Chinese massage just to fix her fragile gut. And how did she repay all that effort back then? By rolling her eyes and calling him annoying, complaining, "Ugh, why do you act just like my mom?" The second those memories flashed in his brain, any leftover sympathy instantly evaporated. "Bye, Felicia." Chen lowered his voice, keeping it ice cold. "Ruyan, I'm not a doctor. If it hurts that bad, go to a hospital." Ruyan's knuckles went white as she clutched the phone, her voice breaking. "I want the stomach-soothing porridge you make." Chen just stayed silent. It became this intense, quiet battle of wills over the phone lines, until he finally went nope and hung up right in her face. Absolute hero move! Fast forward a bit, and life is actually looking up for Chen Fan. He was hanging out with Yu Yu, a super smart grad student who studies under Professor Ouyang. Even though they two weren't in the exact same major, their vibes just clicked. Chen was grinding hard for his master's entrance exams, and having a smart, cute study buddy who actually had access to elite university library databases was a total game changer. While they were sitting together having a blast, guess who was watching from the shadows like a total creep? Yep, Ruyan! She was staring at them, laughing together, clutching her fists so tight her nails almost drew blood. She was raging inside. I begged him, I cried to him, and he wouldn't even look at me. But he's out here giving hard eyes to some random chick? To thank Yu Yu for helping him pull research papers, Chen whipped up a massive, 5-star home-cooked feast. Yu Yu stared at the table, blown away. "Wait, Chen Fan, isn't this way too much food for just the two of us?" Chen smiled. "Hey, you helped me out so much, it's the least I could do!" Yu Yu scratched her head, getting all shy. "Honestly, I barely did anything! You absorb information like a sponge anyway. I don't even have to explain things twice. Plus, you're reading heavy research papers while reviewing basic concepts? No wonder Professor Ouyang rates you so high." After devouring the delicious food, Yu Yu packed her bags as it got dark. Chen walked her downstairs to throw out his trash. She gave him a huge grin. "Your cooking is seriously top tier! Thank you!" "Anytime," Chen replied. "All right, see you at the library tomorrow." Just as she was waving goodbye, Professor Zhao, a stone-cold, ultra-strict female professor from the Life Sciences department, walked right past them, straight off her lab shift. Yu Yu instantly stood up straight like a soldier. "Be Professor Zhao!" Professor Zhao glanced at her, recognizing the face. "You live in this building?" "Yes, I'm in Life Sciences! I took your foundations class!" Professor Zhao gave a subtle nod and kept walking upstairs. Yu Yu let out a huge breath of relief. "Whoa! I had no idea Professor Zhao lived in our building! Her classes are literally impossible to get into! The seats sell out in seconds!" Meanwhile, up on the stairs, Professor Zhao glanced back at them. "Wait, wasn't that girl Yu Yu?" She thought to herself. "First time I've ever seen Chen Fan with someone else. Is that his girlfriend?" She shook her head and smirked internally. "Whatever, none of my business." After saying goodbye to Yu Yu, Chen headed down a dark alleyway to toss his trash bag. Suddenly, a wild shadow lunged out of the darkness and grabbed his wrist. His heart nearly jumped out of his chest. He was ready to throw hands, until a super salty, toxic passive-aggressive voice hissed in his ear. "Wow, look at you, Chen Fan! Moving on real quick, huh? You're playing the field with all these girls!" Chen squinted. It was Ruyan! Her eyes were practically glowing with insane jealousy. "Who was that girl just now?" Chen lost his smile real fast. "What were you two doing up there?" she demanded. "Ruyan, let go of me," he barked. "Answer me first." Chen frowned hard. "It's none of your business." Ruyan sneered. "As your ex-girlfriend, asking about your current love life isn't crossing the line, is it?" Chen actually laughed at the sheer absurdity, looking her dead in the eye. "Oh, so you don't know you're an ex-girlfriend? Then why are you even here?" Ruyan choked on her words for a sec. I was just driving by! Can I drive by? Right on cue!" An angry old guy came stomping down the alley, screaming at the top of his lungs. Who the hell parked their car right at the entrance of the alley? You think just because you drive a flashy sports car, you own the street? Zero manners! How is anyone supposed to pass through? Chen looked past her and saw her ridiculous Porsche blocking the entire road. He didn't even care to argue anymore. He threw the trash bag into the bin, turned around, and laid down the ultimate boundary drop. "Listen to me carefully. Whether I have one new girl, 2, 3, or 4, it has nothing to do with you. We are broken up. Do I need to grab a dictionary and spell out what broken up means for you?" My future is none of your business, and please stop interfering with my present and future. He paused, staring straight through her soul. Let's just be complete strangers from now on. And honestly, I don't know how you stalked your way here, but don't ever come back. I don't want your college boyfriend getting the wrong idea. Chen dropped the mic right there. He made his choice to walk away. She made her choice to play sugar mommy with a college kid, and now everybody had to face the consequences. He turned on his heel and walked away without looking back. Ruyan stood frozen in the dark alley, the cold wind blowing through her hair as a massive wave of pure, unadulterated panic finally washed over her for the very first time. Ruyan stared at Chen's cold, unbothered back as he walked away, feeling a sudden wave of sheer terror. It felt like something precious, something that belonged strictly to her, was slipping right through her fingers, and no matter how hard she reached out, she couldn't grab it. Are you for real this time, Chen fan? She choked out. Yes, Chen said, without even slowing down or glancing back. Sure, they too had split up before. They had fights, huge ones, but never in 6 long years had she felt this level of pure, unadulterated panic. He said the word breakup so calmly, so casually, like a guy who just ordered a coffee. No anger, no tears, just complete closure. It hit her like a ton of bricks. He's really never coming back. Ruyan reached her hand out into the empty air, her throat tight, but not a single sound came out. After all, she was the one who pulled the trigger on the breakup. She was the one who let go first. Chen walked back up to his apartment, sat quietly on his sofa, and took a deep breath. Seeing Ruyan show up at his doorstep wasn't entirely surprising, but unlike his rushed exit from her mansion a month ago, tonight felt like the real, final farewell. Meanwhile, down in the dark alley, Ruyan stood frozen like a statue for what felt like an eternity. She didn't move an inch until the angry old man returned, ready to call a tow truck on her illegally parked ride. Wait, this fancy car is yours, he yelled at her. What is wrong with you? I've been screaming my head off for 20 minutes. Are you deaf? Ruyan didn't answer. She just slammed her foot onto the gas pedal, the engine roaring as her Porsche rocketed out of the alley. She flew down the highway, pulling up to her mega mansion in less than 20 minutes. Back inside, poor Ani Wang was in the kitchen stirring soup when a loud bang shook the house. She thought the roof was caving in, but then saw Ruyan marching across the living room like an angry demon, oozing dark, murderous energy, and heading straight upstairs without saying a word. Annie Wang's heart skipped a beat. Oh Lord, she's having another unhinged meltdown! Ruyan threw herself onto her bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. When the nurse walked in later to check on her, she saw Ruyan lying there, looking like a literal ghost. Ruyan silently handed the nurse her borrowed phone, closed her eyes, and let out a long, exhausted sigh. Game over. Bright and early the next morning, as the sun barely peeked over the horizon, Chen Fan was already wide awake. He picked up his phone and dialed Jiang Wan. Ring. Ring. Jiang Wan was fast asleep, groggy as hell, thinking it was some random telemarketer. But the second she heard Chen's voice, she sat up straight in bed like a rocket. Oh, Chen Fan, hi! Hey, Chen said casually. How are you feeling today? Any better? Still need that stomach porridge? Jiang Wan's brain scrambled for an excuse. Oh, Chen Fan! Dude, that porridge you made yesterday was so insanely delicious. I literally downed the whole bucket in 2 seconds. I'm still dreaming about it. I wish I could eat it every single day. Chen knew damn well she was lying through her teeth and giving it to Ruyan, but he didn't call her out. He just quietly told her what time she could swing by to pick up another batch. Deep down, he knew Ruyan could never go back to the way things were, but making this porridge was officially the very last bit of kindness he would ever offer her. Consider the tab officially closed. Over the next couple of days, Ruyan stayed home, hooked up to IV drips, slowly recovering. And like clockwork, her little college boy, Xiao Jibo, showed up every single morning carrying a thermos of his own homemade porridge, desperate to prove his worth. Every day, Ruyan would just coldly point at the nightstand and say, "Put it over there. I'll drink it later." Today was no different. Xiao Jibo strutted into the bedroom, set the flask down, and immediately scooted super close to Ruyan on the bed, clinging to her arm like a needy golden retriever. Babe, you're finally looking better! You have no idea how worried I was about you these past few days. Ruyan offered a fake, hollow smile. Aren't you supposed to be in class? You're here every day. Xiao Jibo proudly shrugged. Oh, I ditched all of them! My girlfriend is way more important! Honestly, I wish I could stay right by your side 24/7, cooking for you and taking care of you forever. Ruyan froze. A sudden memory hit her right in the heart. She remembered back when they two first started dating. She wanted Chen to skip class to go on a vacation with her. She promised it would be a one-time thing, but Chen strictly refused to miss his lectures. Ruyan threw a massive, spoiled princess tantrum and gave him the silent treatment for 3 straight days, but Chen was so principled that he didn't give in either. Eventually, she was the one who had to bring flowers, apologize, and sweet-talk him into making up. After that, their date night spots literally became the university lecture halls. She would sit next to him in class. He'd be staring at the chalkboard taking notes, while she sat there staring at him, unable to get enough. They used to love each other with so much passion. They had so many gorgeous, unforgettable memories together. So how on earth did it end up like this? Ryan stared into the void, feeling completely lost and heartbroken. Xiao Jibo looked up and noticed the empty, hollow look in her eyes. It was obvious she was looking through him, thinking about someone else. A flash of jealousy and insecurity crossed his face. He gently tugged her arm. "Babe, what's wrong?" Ryan snapped back to reality and pulled her arm away. "Nothing. I'm fully recovered now, so you should focus on your studies. You don't need to keep running over here anymore. I'm going to be super busy with company business for the next few weeks anyway, so I won't have time to entertain you." Out in the driveway, that little college wannabe, Xiao Jibo, strutted right out of Madame Lu Rian's mansion, dragging his feet, scratching his head, and forcing a totally fake smile for the cameras. Yep, guys, I totally got this under control, but the second he stepped outside the main gate, boom! The lights went completely out on his face. His grand dreams were smashed into a million pieces. His heart sank into his boots as his delayed brain finally reloaded. He started panicking inside. "Holy crap! Madame saw right through my hustle in 1 second flat! She knows exactly what kind of gold digger game I'm playing! She never used to be this sharp before!" He overthought it for 10 whole minutes, hesitating hard before pulling out his phone to dial Wang Kexin. Out of all the ultra-wealthy mean girls in Ryan's high society clique, she was the only one whose phone number Xiao Jibo managed to snag. The moment the call connected, he slapped on the slickest, buttered-up fake voice. "Hey, big sister! Good evening! So, is there some crazy drama going down at the hospital over the last 2 days? I just left the villa and noticed Sister Lu's mood is completely ruined. Did that Chen fan guy fry her brain again?" On the other end of the line, poor Wang Kexin was actually at a high-end pub, aggressively flirting with a handsome guy. When this annoying kid called, she held back her urge to scream and gave him a lazy, dismissive answer. "Bro, not at all! Ryan didn't even go there! She probably just swung by once or twice, that's all!" And without waiting for a reply, she instantly hung up like she just dodged a massive headache. Xiao Jibo gritted his teeth, jammed his phone into his pocket, and his eyes went stone cold. So that's how it is. Her heart is still completely hooked on her ex. Bright and early the next morning, our little college boy marched straight to the university library, where Chen Fan was peacefully sitting, casually revising his study notes. The moment he walked up, Xiao Jibo tried to pull a whole tough guy alpha flex. "Listen up! Chen Fan! Lu Rian is my girlfriend now. Since you two are completely broken up, learn to stay in your lane. Stop poking your nose where it doesn't belong, drop the emotional drama, and stop pulling this fake post-breakup friendship act." Chen Fan was literally in the middle of mentally solving complex math equations. Hearing this kid's ridiculous speech almost made him burst out laughing, but he forced a serious, unbothered expression on his face and casually replied, "Whoa! Chill out, bro! You do know! A smart guy never eats leftover food, right? I have zero interest in your girlfriend. You're more than welcome to keep her all to yourself." Seeing Chen Fan give him absolute zero respect, Xiao Jibo's embarrassed face was a total sight to behold. He stomped his feet like a spoiled toddler and scurried away. Chen Fan just cleared his head and went right back to his studies. By noon, as Chen Fan stepped out of the library, fate dropped Professor Zhao right in front of him. Poor Zhao had been so buried under her intensive lab shifts and classes lately that they hadn't even had a chance to catch up. The last time Chen Fan cooked for her, Ryan completely ruined the entire vibe and made things extremely awkward. So this time, he took the initiative. "Hey, Professor, things got a bit messy last time. How about a special lunch on me today? Do you have a little free time?" A 100-watt bulb instantly lit up on Professor Zhao's face. She smiled warmly. "Oh, wow! Absolutely! Absolutely! Who could ever say no to your 5-star cooking?" Now, cut the scene to a sleek sports car parked in the distance. Sitting inside was Madame Lu Rian herself, watching the two of them chatting, laughing, and walking off together. Ryan's eyes instantly turned blood red with rage, her white-knuckled hands gripping the steering wheel so hard her fingers turned completely pale. After overhearing her mom, Mother Shu, complaining about how Chen Fan was hanging out at the university library, and with her little brother Yanyan refusing to give up Chen's new address, Ryan decided to play detective and stalk the library herself. And what glorious reward did she get for sitting there all day? She saw Chen laughing and chatting with yet another gorgeous girl. And plot twist, it wasn't even the same girl she saw him with at the restaurant last time. Inside her mind, her trust fund brain was completely malfunctioning. "What are you trying to do, Chen Fan? If you're trying to make me jealous by surrounding yourself with random women, congratulations, it worked! I'm losing my mind." Driven by pure frenzy, she sped home, stomped into the villa, and tore open Chen's wardrobe. She sprinted over to his walk-in closet, only to freeze. Every single designer outfit, every luxury watch, every piece of custom jewelry she had ever bought him was left behind. Neatly organized, perfectly aligned, with without a single item missing. Her gaze landed on a delicate cherry bracelet, and her breathing instantly hitched. She remembered it vividly. It was a birthday gift she got him from abroad during their 3rd year together. Cherry sounds like cherish, symbolizing that he was the person she cherished the most. Back then, Chen loved it so much he almost never took it off. But here it was, abandoned on the shelf, just like how he completely threw away his 6-year love for her. Ruyan collapsed onto the edge of the bed. For the very first time, the terrifying reality sank in. Chen Fan was never throwing a petty temper tantrum. Every single cold word he said was dead serious. He was really, truly leaving her for good. Suddenly, her phone chimed with a WeChat notification. It was a text from her college side piece, Xiao Jibo. "Babe, are you done with work? I haven't seen you in days and I miss you so much. I made a whole itinerary for us. Can we go on a date next week?" Followed by a needy follow-up text. "Can I come over and see you right now?" Ruyan stared at the screen, her pride flaring up out of toxic spite. Fine. If Chen Fan says it's over and wants a fresh start, why am I still holding back? Xiao Jibo is my official boyfriend anyway. Come over! On the other side of town, Xiao Jibo was snuggled up in his dorm bed. When he saw her reply, he almost jumped out of his skin in excitement. He had subtly tested the waters with Ruyan so many times before, but she had always brushed him off. He thought tonight would be another cold shoulder, but she actually said, "Why, yes!" He leaped out of bed and started frantically getting dressed. His roommate, who was still grinding video games late at night, gave him a smirking side-eye. "Whoa, Jibo, where are you headed in the middle of the night?" Another dorm mate chimed in with a chuckle. "Bro, don't you know? A night of passion is worth $1,000. The only person who can make our campus heartthrob move this fast is his insanely rich, super nice girlfriend." Xiao Jibo's face flushed bright red. Deep down, he always felt insecure because Ruyan never let him cross certain physical boundaries, making him feel like she could dump him at any second. But he thought, if we finally sleep together tonight, I'll officially be her main man. He caught an Uber straight to her mega mansion. Before he could even ring the doorbell, the heavy double doors yanked open. A strong, aggressive hand snatched him by the collar, dragging him inside. The next second, he was pinned against the wall as Ruyan aggressively shoved her lips onto his. Xiao Jibo was stunned for a solid 2 seconds before building up the courage to clumsily kiss her back. They stumbled over each other, making out all the way to the living room sofa. Ruyan slammed him down onto the couch and climbed right on top of him. Xiao Jibo's heart was hammering against his chest, his breathing heavy, fully expecting the wild night of his life. Until Ruyan suddenly froze mid-motion. Xiao Jibo blinked, totally lost in the mood. "Babe, what's wrong?" Ruyan abruptly pulled away, rolled off him, and sat on the far side of the sofa, looking totally detached. "Sorry! Get up!" It was like throwing a bucket of ice water over his head. Xiao Jibo sat up, completely shivering with confusion and embarrassment. "Ruyan, did I do something wrong?" Ruyan lifted her cold, intimidating eyes. "I don't like repeating myself twice." Xiao Jibo bit his lip, feeling deeply hurt, but didn't dare say another word. Seeing him look so pitiful, Ruyan softened her tone just a fraction, using a fake, patronizing gentleness. "Be a good boy. It's really late. I'll have my driver take you back to campus." Meanwhile, over at Chen Fan's cozy new apartment, he was buried under a mountain of graduate research papers, completely losing track of time. By the time he stretched his arms and checked the clock, it was almost midnight. He got into his comfy pajamas, turned off the lights, and drifted off to sleep. Bang, 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 bang! Chen Fan, open the door! I know you're in there! Even through 2 solid doors, Ruyan's hysterical screaming sliced right through his peaceful bedroom. Bang, 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 bang! The pounding got louder and louder. Chen covered his ears with a pillow, desperately hoping she'd realize nobody was giving her attention and just leave. But 5 full minutes passed, and she was banging on the door like a wild SWAT team raid. Out in the hallway, the neighbors were starting to lose their minds. Who the hell is shouting in the middle of the night? Let people sleep! Which crazy dog is barking out there? If you don't get lost, I'm calling the cops! Seeing that she was about to start a neighborhood riot, Chen had no choice. He put on his slippers, marched to the front door, and yelled through the wood. "Ruyan, what the hell is wrong with you?" "I knew you were inside," she shouted back, sounding totally unhinged. "Open the door and let me in. Why should I?" Chen scoffed. "Who do you think you are, showing up whenever you want?" Ruyan let out a bitter, crazy laugh. "Fine, then I'll just keep banging on this door all night." Knowing she was psycho enough to actually do it, Chen unlocked the latch. The second the door cracked open, Ruyan slammed her weight against it and forced her way inside, terrified that if she was a second too slow, he'd lock her out again. A heavy, overwhelming stench of alcohol hit his nose. Ruyan was wobbling on her feet, her cheeks flushed bright red, looking like she was going to pass out any second. Chen crossed his arms, frowning hard. "What do you actually want?" Ruyan stared at him with bloodshot, intoxicated eyes, staying dead silent for what felt like hours. Finally, her voice softened into a desperate, trembling whimper. "Xiao Fan, come back home, please." Chen shook his head slowly. You know that's impossible. I don't get it, she yelled, her composure cracking completely. What do you want from me? Just say it! An apology! A grand gesture! You want me to kneel on a keyboard? Kneel on a durian fruit? Just tell me! For a proud, billionaire heiress who had never bowed her head to anyone in her entire life, this was her absolute lowest, most desperate rock-bottom surrender. But Chen just stood there, completely unbothered, and shook his head again. Enough! Don't push it too far! Chen fan! Ruyan barked, gasping for air. You let me into your apartment, which means there's still room for us to talk. Just name your conditions. Anything you want, just say it. Chen looked at her like she was delusional. I let you inside so you wouldn't disturb my neighbors and ruin their sleep. Nothing more. You're the one who said that when people break up, they should be clean and decisive. So what are you doing right now? Go home. He looked at her coldly. Go home to do what? Become your side piece? If you come back, I will dump Xiao Jibo right now, she pleaded, taking a step closer. I refuse. Before she could grab his arm, Chen dodged her, sprinted back into his bedroom, and slammed the door shut with a heavy bang. He locked it tight. Outside, after a long period of quiet sniffling, everything finally went dead silent. Ruyan had slid down the wall and passed out drunk on his hardwood floor. The next morning, the bright morning sun filtered through the blinds. The slumped figure on the floor groaned and shifted. Ruyan dragged her eyes open, her head pounding with a brutal hangover. She massaged her temples, sat up, and scanned her surroundings. A tight, cramped living room. Clean and tidy, sure, but to a girl who grew up in mega mansions, it looked ridiculously small and pathetic. Chen walked out of his bedroom, completely dressed, his face totally expressionless. Do you even remember what you did last night? Ruyan narrowed her eyes, instantly putting her cold corporate armor back on. Now that she was sober, there was no way she would ever admit to crying and begging him to come back. Chen let out a dry, sarcastic laugh. At 11 p.m. last night, you slammed on my door like a lunatic, completely ruined my sleep, annoyed the entire building, and on top of that, you disturbed the entire neighborhood. So please, act like an adult and stop pulling these childish stunts. Ruyan's head was still pounding from the alcohol, but hearing those cold words felt like taking a heavy sledgehammer straight to the chest. She looked around the apartment, her arrogant, elitist eyes scanning the room before letting out a super bitter sneer. You think I actually care about being in this cheap, cramped little dump? She snapped, throwing her designer coat over her shoulder. Even if you begged me on your hands and knees, I would never set foot in this trashy place again. She slammed his door so hard the frame shook, strutting straight out of the building. The second she reached the end of the alley, she yanked out her phone and dialed her bestie, Jiang Wan. Where are you? Come get a drink with me. Jiang Wan rolled up to the bar a short while later, only to find Ruyan already chugging whiskey shots like water, still wearing yesterday's wrinkled clothes and smelling like a brewery. Girl, did you even go home last night? The party ended hours ago. Ruyan glared at her. I called you here to drink, not to audit my life. Why do you talk so much? Jiang Wan threw her hands up in self-defense. All right, my bad. Where's the rest of the squad? She knew I got dragged home by her dad, and Kexen's been super busy lately doing God knows what. Haven't seen her in days, Jiang Wan replied. Ruyan just shrugged, not really caring, and downed another shot. Seeing her in such a pathetic, heartbroken mood, Jiang Wan stayed by her side, drinking with her from broad daylight straight into the pitch-black night. By midnight, Ruyan was completely wasted. Jiang Wan had to physically haul her into a taxi, drag her into her mega mansion, and tuck her into bed. Even while passed out cold, Ruyan kept whimpering, Chen fan! Chen fan! Jiang Wan just shook her head in total disbelief. Man, you're madly in love with the guy, but you refuse to drop your crazy ego. Now you're stuck in this messy situation. What a self-inflicted disaster. Meanwhile, back at Chen's clean, peaceful apartment, he was setting an alarm on his phone after cleaning up the mess Ruyan left behind the night before. Suddenly, his phone buzzed with a friend request on WeChat. The note attached was super brief. Jiang Jingyu. Chen blinked. Jiang Jingyu? She was one of Ruyan's closest rich girl besties, but they two had practically zero personal connection. He hesitated, worried she might be reaching out about something serious, so he clicked accept. 30 minutes passed. Crickets. She didn't send a single text, making it look like she just clicked the wrong button by mistake. Back at a flashy nightclub, Jiang Xingyu tossed her phone onto the table and looked up at Jiang Wan, who had just returned after dropping Ruyan off. Is she home safe? Jiang Wan nodded, collapsing into a booth. Yeah! Thank God I sneaked out fast. If I ran into her scary mom, Mother Shu, I'd be dead meat. By the way, I asked you out so many times and you said you were busy. How come you're free tonight? Jiang Xingyu took a slow sip of her glass, a mysterious smile on her face. Just wrapped up some business. Then, acting totally casual, she asked, Hey, didn't Chen Fan just finish his grad school entrance exams? Jiang Wan gasped, setting her glass down. Wait, it ended 2 days ago! How do you remember that so clearly? Xingyu smirked smoothly. I'm in finance, remember? Details are my specialty. But seriously, it's been almost 6 months. I can't believe Ruyan and Chen Fan haven't gotten back together yet. I know, right? Jiangwan agreed. Are you not surprised? Xingyu's tone went surprisingly flat. It's bound to happen eventually. Jiangwan, totally misinterpreting her words, assumed she meant a reunion was inevitable. True! Hey, you and Chen Fan are on pretty good terms, right? Jiangwan puffed her chest out with pride. Are you kidding? I've literally had his legendary 5-star stomach porridge. We're practically besties. Xingyu's eyes flickered with a dark, calculating glint. Well, since he just finished his big exams, shouldn't you throw a little celebration for him? A celebration? Like what? Just invite him to dinner, Xingyu suggested smoothly. Who knows? Maybe you can play matchmaker and get those two in the same room again. Jiangwan's eyes lit up like a Christmas tree. Dude, that is genius! Chen Fan might give Ruyan the cold shoulder, but he'll definitely give me face. I'll host a party under the excuse of celebrating his exams, and then boom, accidentally set up a surprise reunion for them. Xingyu nodded, sipping her drink to hide a subtle, sly smile. Sounds like a plan. Jiangwan immediately pulled out her phone and called Chen Fan up. Chen Fan! Hey, how are you holding up? After explaining her idea, there was a long, awkward silence on Chen's end. Sensing his hesitation, Jiangwan quickly promised, I swear, Chen Fan, this is just a friendly dinner between the two of us to celebrate your exams. I promise 100% I will not invite Ruyan. Hearing that guarantee, Chen finally agreed. The second she hung up, Jiangwan giggled. Well, I promised I wouldn't invite her, but if she just happens to bump into us, that's not my fault. Xingyu casually volunteered. I'll handle letting Ruyan know about the location. The day of the dinner arrived, with beautiful sunny weather. Jiangwan booked a high-end private booth at a fancy restaurant. The second Chen walked through the door, she frantically waved him over with a huge grin. Thanks for setting this up, Chen said politely as he sat down. I appreciate the thought. Jiangwan chuckled. Come on, Chen Fan, don't be so formal with me. We're buddies! She snapped her fingers, and waiters started serving a lavish spread of gourmet dishes. Suddenly, a slick, sophisticated voice echoed over their table. Xiaowan, what a coincidence! Jiangwan looked up, expecting to see Ruyan walk in for the orchestrated surprise, but her smile completely froze. Standing there wasn't Ruyan at all. It was Jiang Xingyu, looking effortlessly stunning. Wait, what? Where is Ruyan? Why did the main character change? Jiangwan's brain completely short-circuited, but she forced a smile. Oh, hey Xingyu, what a coincidence! Mind if I join you guys? Xingyu asked smoothly. Before Jiangwan could even figure out how to process the situation, Xingyu gracefully pulled out a chair and sat down right next to Chen, her eyes subtly scanning his face. What's the occasion today? Xingyu asked, looking right at Chen. Jiangwan let out a forced laugh, sending panic-stricken glare signals to Xingyu. Girl, what are you doing? Where is Ruyan? But Xingyu completely ignored her desperate looks and casually leaned back, keeping her eyes fixed on Chen. I'm just celebrating for him, Jiangwan mumbled awkwardly. Celebrating what? Xingyu asked softly. Even though Chen wasn't super close with Xingyu, staying silent would be plain rude. I just finished my graduate school entrance exams, Chen explained. Xingyu paused for a second. Majoring in what? Chen nodded. Bioinformatics. Jiangwan was sitting there completely lost, but Xingyu's eyes lit up with genuine interest. Bioinformatics? The interdisciplinary field combining biology, mathematics, and computer science? Chen looked at her, genuinely surprised. Most of Ruyan's wealthy friends were shallow party-goers who only cared about luxury brands and nightclubs. He didn't expect Xingyu to actually know technical academic fields. Yeah, exactly. Are you familiar with it? Xingyu smiled gracefully. A bit. Biology is the overarching theory. Applied life sciences focus on practical lab work, but bioinformatics uses computer, science, statistics, and algorithms to solve biological data problems, right? Chen's respect for her instantly shot up a few notches. That's spot on. I didn't realize you knew so much about it. Meanwhile, poor Jiangwan was sitting on the side with her brain utterly fried, listening to these complex tech terms like they were speaking alien hieroglyphics. She barely survived until the end of the meal and sprinted to the counter to grab the check just to escape the awkwardness. While Jiangwan was away, Xingyu looked at her phone, then turned to Chen with an irresistible, warm smile. Jiangwan texted saying something urgent came up at home and she had to rush off. She asked me to drive you home. They walked out of the restaurant, and Xingyu, wearing sleek leather gloves, personally opened the passenger door of her luxury car for Chen like a total chivalrous queen. After you. Thanks, Chen said, stepping inside. During the 10-minute drive, the atmosphere inside the car was surprisingly peaceful. Xingyu kept her hands smooth on the steering wheel, her eyes occasionally stealing glances at Chen sitting in the passenger seat. Even though he was just sitting there in plain, casual clothes, he naturally exuded this effortlessly classy, low-key scholar vibe. The sharp line of his jaw, his defined nose, his deep eyes lost in thought as he stared out the window. It all painted a surprisingly handsome, mysterious picture. Back when he was with Ruyan, she always forced him to style his hair in those over-the-top, heavily gelled high-maintenance cuts that never actually suited him. Sure, it looked sharp, but it lacked real personality. Now, he just rocked a simple, clean haircut, messy and completely unstyled under his winter scarf, looking like a low-key fashion model without even trying. Xingyu caught a glance of him in her peripheral vision, a tiny, subtle smile flickering in her eyes before vanishing instantly. She turned her focus back to the road, acting like total cool girl business as usual. As they passed through the city center, thousands of high-tech drones suddenly illuminated the night sky. They were hovering in crazy precise formations, shifting into mind-blowing glowing patterns like a $1 million light show. Turns out, a crowd had gathered at the nearby plaza for a front-row view. Seeing how cool it looked, Xingyu pulled her sports car over to the side of the road, leaning against her steering wheel to watch the brilliant spectacle through the windshield. Chen looked up through the glass, completely mesmerized by the glowing sky. Xingyu looked over at him with a casual smirk. "Take a guess. How many drones do you think are up there?" Chen chuckled. "How am I supposed to guess that? No idea." "I'm guessing 99, she said smoothly. "Why 99? Xingyu paused for a quick beat, her voice dropping into a soft tone. "Because when people pull off fancy romantic proposals, they like using 99 to represent forever, right?" Literally a second later, the swarm of light drones rearranged themselves in the pitch-black sky, spelling out a massive, glowing, "Marry me." Chen blinked in complete shock. "Wait, how on earth did you know this was a proposal?" Xingyu casually pointed through the window toward the viewing platform near the plaza. "See that guy in the sharp tuxedo over there? He's literally hiding a huge bouquet of red roses behind his back." Chen shook his head in genuine awe. Damn, impressive observation skills. Up until tonight, Chen honestly assumed Xingyu was just another spoiled, rich party girl who spent her days wasting money. But tonight completely flipped his perspective. During dinner, when they chatted, he realized her financial trading brain was actually terrifyingly smart. Then again, it made sense. Ruyan's entire inner circle, including Ruyan herself, were total monsters when it came to making money. That whole ultra-wealthy, elite world was way more complex than an average guy could ever imagine. Which only proved one thing. Walking away cleanly and cutting ties with that crazy circle was 100% the best decision Chen ever made. "My place is right up ahead," Chen said, unbuckling his seatbelt. "Thanks a lot for the ride, Xingyu." Xingyu hadn't even driven 2 blocks away before her phone started frantically ringing. It was Jiang Wan, breathless and confused. "Where did you guys go?" "I turned around for 5 minutes and you both completely vanished." Here's what actually happened. While Jiang Wan was at the cashier paying for dinner, she literally got cornered by her toxic ex-boyfriend whom she hadn't seen in over a year. The dude stuck to her like super glue, and it took her forever to shake him off. Xingyu, lying through her teeth with absolute, smooth perfection, casually lied. "Oh, you took so long to come back, and Chen Fan had an urgent emergency to handle, so I just drove him home real quick." Jiang Wan groaned through the speaker. "What about Ruyan? Weren't you supposed to bring her over for the accidental reunion? Why did you end up alone with Chen Fan?" Xingyu replied in a totally flat, unbothered tone. "Couldn't find her. She's probably busy hanging out with her young boy toy, Xiao Jibo." "What a missed opportunity, huh? Ugh, so annoying!" Jiang Wan sighed and hung up. The second the call ended, Xingyu pulled her car over to the curb. She opened a secondary banking app on her phone and transferred a massive stack of cash to an unknown burner number. A second later, her phone rang. The voice on the other end was a greasy guy laughing in total delight. "Pleasure doing business with you! Miss Jiang, you sure are generous! Hit me up whenever you need another favor!" If Jiang Wan were here, her jaw would literally hit the floor. Yep, turns out the annoying ex-boyfriend who conveniently trapped Jiang Wan at the restaurant was literally hired by Xingyu to stall her. The guy chuckled curiously on the phone. "Honestly though, Miss Jiang, I'm dying to know. Why did you pay me a fortune just to corner your bestie for 10 minutes? What can anyone even pull off in 10 minutes? Jiang Xingyu's face went completely cold, her deep eyes turning dark and dangerous into the rearview mirror. "Do you know how a cat dies? From idle curiosity. You got the money, didn't you? Now keep your mouth shut."